it is about the role models, it is about the visibility of them. And I think to take that on, it's the social norm that we have around engineering and who can be an engineer and who is an engineer. Yeah. And I think this is something that we see not just in the young people, but also in society, in who we have on our screens, in who we have that we see in leadership positions, and who we have that comments on these things. You know, if you ask someone to imagine an engineer, no offense at all to them as they're here with us, it's these dead white dudes that we have on the wall with beards. And no offense at all to them, but how interesting that the only vision we have of success is that you need to be dead and white and male and have a beard. And that's a really high bar to be able to try to meet, right? I'm never going to be dead and white and male and have a beard. And so does that mean that I can not be an engineer? And so this norm then permeates into the decisions that you make at 13, which is, you know, it's criminal that the decisions you make at 13 is what then drives, you know, what you can end up doing, you know, in your 20s and your 30s. But even more so for us in the industry, we also hold that as, you know, what an engineer looks like. And so if you have, like you said, these 30% of students studying engineering from ethnic minority background coming and sitting in front of you when you're doing your interview panels, when you're hiring, when you're making promotion decisions, you know, when you're making decisions in the business of doing engineering, and this is your reference point, you're like, okay, you're not dead, first off, all of you that are sat here. If you're not male, if you don't have the beard, if you're not white, we're almost having to, you know, do a bit of a movement, right? Yeah. Do a bit of too much of a mental jump to say, oh, will you really be able to be a success and a value in my organization if you're not dead white male and with a beard? And I say it, and I go over it again and again, because it's something that I've come across quite a lot in working with STEMettes. There are all kinds of organizations that approach us. We work with girls and non-binary young people from 5 up to 25, where they're to engage, inform, and connect them with STEAM, so the science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths all in one. And, you know, the stories that I hear of, you know, particularly, there's one company that came to us that we didn't end up working with, for obvious reasons, who were like, you know, we actually had, did, you know, a big graduate hiring, we did a big assessment centre, everything was anonymised. Number 1, number 2, number 3, positions 1 and 2 happened to be women, and a load of our hiring managers were like, the women aren't going to want to do this, and so we're not going to hire them. From the same company, there was a particular person who was about to retire, there was a really senior programme manager across engineering projects, who was struggling to find his replacement as he was going off to retirement. And I think we have to think this again. If you're looking for your replacement and it has to be someone just like you, who is probably also nearing retirement, then of course it's going to take you 4 years to find what you need to replace you on that project. And we have this across the industry time and time and time again. We're not being inclusive in the idea of excellence, the idea of value, and the idea of what success looks like.
100%.